Nothing better than seeing all the bottle calves up here at feed. Where are we gonna go dump it? Where all the rest of the stuff goes? Yeah. What's going on YouTube? Nick Novak back for another video today. Today, we're gonna do a little something different. We're gonna get ready for our bottle calves for this winter. On this west side of the barn here is where I had my bottle calves inside. I wanna get this hay out of here, kind of get this all cleaned up. We're actually gonna stack some square bales of alfalfa in here. Say hi. Got my little helper here. It's like 80 degrees to 88 degrees right now. It's like 6 o'clock p.m. on Tuesday. I might put the video up tonight or tomorrow morning, so you'll probably see it. I guess you'll probably see it tomorrow. But I want to get this all cleaned out and then start working on designing how I want my pens, because as you know, bottle calves suck on each other and I can't have them right next to each other. I have 3 pens right here, 1, 2, 3. But I might put some more T-posts and try to make them some smaller pins, if that makes sense. But first things first, get all this hay out. Okay, we got her cleaned out. We're gonna get that little bit of trash. It's not perfect, but it'll do. I'm gonna get some of this spray. We're gonna spray in here, disinfect it, and then I'll come back through with a little bit of hay and bed it right now. I mean, I'm just gonna leave the door shut, so it'll be ready when I get them. Are we gonna go dump this poopy hay? Yeah. Where are we gonna go dump it? Where all the rest of the stuff goes? Yeah. We're gonna go get it done. Okay, so I decided, which you probably saw in the intro, I'm moving some alfalfa here. I'm gonna put 16 bales, I think, in the shed where the bottle calves are at, because that's what this is gonna be for. Just give them half of a flake and let them start chewing on it, because it really helps with their gut, and it really kind of, it's some good feed for them to help with that grain and just feeding them grass hay in the winter. That alfalfa really is gonna help them get that jump start that I want them to have when we get to go in green grass. So let's grab another 16 or so bales. I want to leave that back wall, so probably, I don't know if we'll grab another, we might grab another 8. We'll see what happens. We'll see how many we can get. Okay, so I grabbed 4, 8, 9, 10, 11. I already have 8 over there, so be 19 total, which is fine. I'm gonna leave some over here for our horses this winter. I usually give them, I'm gonna leave the rest of these over here, even all those broken bales, for our horses, because in the winter I give about a flake every day, and so there's probably 100 days there with just throwing 1 flake a day, so that should be fine. We'll go ahead and get this to the bottle calves and get her stacked up tight. Slow and steady wins the race. Okay, so it smells really good in here. That's good. From that disinfectant spray. I need to get some powder to put on the ground to really help, but I like this disinfectant spray. It's the best I've found. I just at the local Baumgars, just to help. It helps with the smell especially, but it also kills 99% of bacteria, so anything on the walls, them licking, everything like that, it should get the majority of it. So anyways, kind of what my plan is we're gonna put all these bales, kind of stack them one line and just kind of stack them high, I think, and maybe, you know, might be able to get 1 row on the ground and then stack them back on top of that. So that's the plan. We'll leave them here. Then it's easier access to the bottle calves, because my other plan is to move my totes right here I think I might try to line them up. I can't decide what I'm gonna do yet. I haven't fully decided, but I think I'm gonna put them facing north to south, simply because I can block that east wind, which is not a lot of east wind, but the barn protects from there. This hill protects most of that west wind, and so if I just have it facing south, the north wind is what we really have a lot of trouble with in the winter. Those totes, when they're outside, will kind of help bring them this way. And you know, some people just leave them outside, and I have the space. It's a little extra work to put them inside, but on those days when it gets down to 30, I don't put them in. It's just when it's blizzarding, I know there's snow coming, I'll throw them in here. No reason not to. And they're out of the elements. It's not so much warmer, they're just out of the wind. And so that's kind of what we do. Anyways, let's get these put together on the floor here. Okay, so I'm sure you guys don't want to watch me stack these again. You've already watched me stack them on the Bobcat. Why don't I just snap my fingers and let it be done? There we go. Now you have it right there, boys and girls. We're stacked in. It actually fits almost perfect in this corner. I have one that's almost a broken bale. Put it down here, I'll use that first. Kind of just work our way back. But anyways, what we're gonna do now is I need to try to think of a design here. I might not start on this yet. There might be a video maybe tomorrow when I draw it up tonight. I have some rough ideas of what I want to do, but I'm not 100% sure, so there might be a part 2 to this. But what we're gonna do now is go and get those chemical totes with the Bobcat, and we'll get them set up right back here. What I'll probably do is just put them up against the fence, so I don't have to worry about them blowing away, if that makes sense. But what I'm gonna do first is take my Bobcat with the bucket, push through here, get all these weeds out of the way so I don't have to worry about them. Okay, so I got it cleaned out of all the weeds. There's still weeds in the fence. I'll need to go through and pick those later on. And I'll probably do that as soon as I get ready to build my pens for these bottle calves. Gosh, my neck's been hurting me lately. But anyways, let's go grab those chemical totes. We'll set them up here. I think I have 5. I use one for the back of my pickup. That's how I haul my calves, so I don't have to pull a trailer. It works really good. If you guys have been watching since last, I think I started my YouTube channel in January. If you've been watching since then, you've seen, it looks a little redneck, but it helps with gas mileage. I just strap her down and it works really good. So anyways, let's go grab those totes. We'll get them set up here. So that's one less thing to do in the next month before we start getting some calves. So instead of chasing them with forks, I'm gonna try to just put 2 on the bucket. I got both on, but that one's barely holding on, so we'll see if we make it or not. I don't think we will. Okay, so I actually only had 4, which is fine. I'll use 3. I'll have 3 pens, and excuse me. I'll have 3 pens, but also we have those small animal auctions here in Ellis every 3rd month, and actually it's where I picked up 2 of these. I picked up both of these ones. Those 2 back there I got from the feed yard, cut the holes myself. And what I need to do on this one is actually cut it a little bit bigger. You know, and as I've been thinking, last year, instead of putting these totes in a line facing north to south. I had them along this fence line so they can be in it even if there's a north or south wind, because if there's a south wind, they're kind of crapped out of luck. So that's what I'll probably do the same thing as last year. I don't have as much room to work with because last year it was level all the way out to probably maybe right in here, but I got this slope from all the dirt work I did this summer up here. And so they'll have a little bit smaller runs, but I guess while we're here, I'll just give you guys a little bit of an example of kind of what the calves first, let's say 2 months looks like, 2-3 months. So I buy the calf, I get it. Every calf I get, I give it a half of a cc, so like 0.5 cc's of Draxin, which if you guys know what Draxin is, it's a very high, basically ranchers use it in just about everything because it's like probably the best everything drug, and it just helps with sickness. And so I give all of them a half a cc. I like taking the money to spend on that. I don't even know what it comes out to, maybe a couple bucks, maybe $1 or $2, but I like taking that because I just feel like it helps the overall health of these calves. So basically you could say it's a mass treat. It's just whenever they come in, I do that. Like I said, I want to try to get 30, so I have the Draxin. I mean, I'm not worried about that, but I'm gonna need some more totes. I'm gonna need some better pins, and in the barn kind of have to figure out kind of what's going on here. But anyways, let's walk you through the first. Let's say I get them at a week old. I like to get them at least a couple days old. Hopefully they're on the cow. If they're really young, I always give them a round or two of colostrum, just because if they don't have that, there's probably a 25% chance they're dead, 1 in 4. So I like to make sure that they're coming from a cow, from off an old cow or something, to where they get that colostrum. They'll spend probably the first 45 days over here in their totes. I'll be moving them back and forth between the barn and here, and once I get them to where I can put them on a nipple or a three-way a three-way feeder, to where I just dump 3 bottles into this big feeder and they just eat on it. About 45 days is when I think that they can, if they overeat a little bit, they're not going to get those scours. But the first, month and a half, month, I'm really worried about that. And so about 45 days we'll do that, and then eventually they'll be moved over here to the tree row. And I like this tree row for these calves. Over there in those pens, it's not the most sanitary, you could say, just because I have a lot of calves in and out, and they're just peeing and pooping in their little pens. So I'm constantly cleaning those out as best as I can. But I like when I can move them over here in the tree row, because they have all these trees to roam. They can go back. I think it's like a third of an acre. So it's not huge, but for a little 45 to 60 day old calf, it's perfect. And I'll end up putting a couple totes there. What I like about this is I have these trees blocking that north wind, so a lot of those times those calves kind of tuck up in there. I put a lot of feed down, put some of my sedan bales in there as bedding, and then I just feed them through here on that gate. And that's when I start implementing the grain, is probably at about 30 to 35 days. So they get it over there. Once they're eating it good enough, I kick them over here to where they know, hey, I need to eat grain, some alfalfa, also be on the bottle. And I guess while we're talking, the alfalfa, I kind of just let them pick at it. I just throw a handful of a flake in their pen. Most times they won't chew on it, but once they get the taste of it and get the feel, they really start taking off on it. It's a little bit more of an expense, but like I said, I'd rather spend the money to have a healthy calf. As you can see, those 9 calves I have, healthy as can be. Anyways, they spend from 60 days till they get weaned in here. They just get hay and alfalfa and grain, like I said. And then when we start to green up, I kick them out here to this big 3 to 5 acre pasture. I can never remember what it is. I think it's 5. I kick them in there, but like I've said, I'm gonna be getting some more calves this year. So instead of only running 9 on these 5 acres, I'm gonna have probably, I'm hoping, close to 30. And what I'm gonna end up doing is, from that gate down there, I'm gonna make a straight shot. I'll probably use hot wire on all the way to the other fence, which gives them about another 5 acres. So there'll be about 10 acres up here to where they can have as much grass as they want. These little 200 and 300 pound calves, they're gonna need about an acre, if that, in the summer. And like I said before, I'm supplementing them with a lot of cracked corn also at this stage. And I guess let me just set back to where I'm talking about grain. So starter grain, I do buy bag starter grain. I might try to buy it in bulk this year, maybe in one of these chemical totes or something, because I'll be going through a lot more than just, you know, a couple calves. I think I was bottle feeding, the most was 5 at a time this year. And so it's gonna be a lot more than that. I'm gonna need some more bigger bulk, and so that's probably what I'll do. I'll end up just trying to buy it in a chemical tote or something, or maybe even taking a chemical tote to the co-op, having them fill it there. That would probably work pretty good. But I like to do probably till the first 75 days just straight that starter grain, and then about 75 days I wean my bottle calves off the bottle around 65 to 70 days, somewhere in there. It kind of just depends on how the calf's looking. And about 55 to 60 days is when I start going 1 bottle, and then do about a bottle for a full 1 bottle for a full week, and then after that completely weaned off, just eating grain and alfalfa hay, because it's still not green yet at that point. So that's kind of what we do. I know I kind of jumped around, I was kind of all over the place, but that's kind of what my process looks like when I'm doing these bottle calves. Is, you know, it starts out with 2 bottles a day, morning and night. We'll just say that real quick. We'll just do a little bit of a debrief. A bottle day and night. Every calf that comes into my ranch gets half a cc of Draxin, because they're not 100 pounds, it's 100 pounds per 1 cc. About a half a cc of Draxin. They're on the bottle, and I'm supplementing alfalfa and grain, you know, around the 10 to 15 day mark. And I'm not giving them a lot, because sometimes they could overeat and it just messes up their rumen, and I don't want that. I just like to give it to them early so that they can see it. And then, you know, around the 55 to 60 day mark, and as I'm getting up to that 55 to 60 day mark, they're getting more grain every day. If they're starting to clean up their dish, I, you know, go ahead and give them a little bit more. But they're just eating that starter grain, alfalfa, and milk at that point, no hay. And then we get to day 60, they're going down to 1 bottle a day, and it just kind of depends on my schedule. It'll probably be nights, because I work in the mornings with UPS. We'll be starting at about 2:30 a.m. and so I don't want to be waking up then, and I don't get home till 11. So I'll probably just do it in the evenings around 5 or so, right before it gets dark. I'll be getting 1 bottle, alfalfa, and that starter grain. And at that point, I start supplementing a little bit of that cracked corn in there. So it's about 75% starter grain, 25% cracked corn. And then once we get that, that's kind of their last phase of being on the bottle, and that's their last phase of being so tame, because once we get them off the bottle at about 70 days, you know, like I said, about 55 to 60 days, they're going to 1 bottle for about a week, cut them off. And that's when I know they're eating enough grain, they're getting enough protein. Basically, they're not starving themselves off the grain and alfalfa. And at that point, about 75 days, I'm throwing in a little bit of hay, but high quality brome hay. That's the horses are going to eat, and so I know that it's going to be very nutritious for them. But really, they're eating a lot more just alfalfa and that cracked corn and starter grain. And then, you know, when I'm going straight to the cracked corn, I'm not as picky on that. I kind of just feel it out. If these calves are taking off, you know, I'm going to go a little bit more towards that cracked corn, maybe 25% starter grain and 75% cracked corn. And then about that 100 day mark, they're on all cracked corn and alfalfa, and we're starting to get closer to green grass season, where we can get them that green grass and the cracked corn. So I don't know if you guys were reading me or not on that. Sorry, I was kind of all over the place, but I wanted to kind of explain that to you, kind of my process with these bottle calves. And like I said, last year was my first year doing it at a big scale, you could say. Just 9 head, not a huge scale, but bigger scale than what I'm used to. And once we sell these bottle calves, I'll give you guys a profit loss video and show you guys kind of, I'm gonna try to put in almost every single purchase I had to make for these calves and kind of tell you how much I made, how much I lost, kind of my process, what I did bad, what I did wrong, and kind of just do it kind of like that. And I'm kind of looking forward to that, because then it kind of gives me something to look back on every year to see, oh well, these bottle calves sold for 1,200 bucks, so they sold for 800 bucks. But I will say right now, I'm in my bottle calves like 780 bucks right now. So the way the market is looking right now, we're looking good. Hopefully it stays high until I can get these calves sold, and might be able to make a couple $100 a head. Bottle calves are a lot more work than your cow calf pairs, but at the end of the day, I have the space, I have the time. If it's gonna make me an extra 8 to 10 grand a year, it's probably worth it. It's not, I say that now when it's hot and cool outside, but when it's snowing and the wind's blowing and you don't want to come out and feed them, but you have to, that's what kind of stinks about it. But at the end of the day, we do it because we love it. So anyways, I've been jambling a lot. Let's get these put up. We'll get the bottle calves some more grain, because I bet they're out. I haven't fed them since last night. I've been trying to get them calves their grain. I usually just grain them once a day, and I try to give them a lot of grain. I don't even know pounds per day that we're up to per head. I probably should figure that out, and I might do that tonight. But I like it to where there's a little bit left, to where I know they're almost finishing it up. What I really like is when I can get it perfect, where they're up eating as I'm getting ready to go get some more put in there, and they're just finishing it up from the last night's feeding. But anyways, let's get these put up. That should work there. This one here on the end, this yellow one, is what I haul them in, so that's why that one's turned around. So as you can see, I put in those blue buckets over there. I put 4 in last night, and they've kind of cleaned it up pretty good. There's a little bit left, maybe comes out to about a half a bucket. So tonight what I'm gonna do is only give them 3 buckets to where they have to clean that up. All right, y'all, so this will be a part 1 to my bottle calf getting ready, and it kind of my explanation of everything. Tomorrow, my plan is to get some T-posts put in the ground, get some panels in here. I'm not too worried about them licking on each other in here. I'm gonna put separate pins, you know, put a couple different ones, the bad ones together maybe, kind of let them fight it out. But the ones that are kind of just staying to themselves, be able to put them in their own pin to where they're not having to get sucked on. But anyways, and the reason I don't like them getting sucked on in the summer, in the winter, because most times when they're getting sucked on, it's usually their ears, and their ears will freeze, and then they'll get knocked off basically, because they're frostbite or frostbitten, whatever you want to say. And I don't like the look of that. People at the sale barn don't love that either. And so and then the other part they like to suck on is the navel, and I don't like that either, because it can cause infection and it's just not good. So we want to limit as much licking and sucking on each other as possible. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna end that here. part 1. We'll get part 2 tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.